December 28th, 1979. Is destiny a concept? Why do I have a fear of death? The body was born and it is going to die. Your fear is due to your identification with the body. You must know what you are, and you will enjoy the joy of getting rid of pain and fear. How to meditate? I call Dhyan meditation as jnana, knowledge you are. Can you be without the knowledge you are? No. Hence, meditation goes on in you continuously. It just needs your attention. Take the knowledge you are as your guru and give attention to it for as long as possible. Hold on to your consciousness, which is the seed of self-knowledge. Thereby you will know the self. Why do we suffer so much in life? You are reducing your guru's greatness to the body level, hence you suffer. What is Maya? That which has no existence is asserting itself as present. That is Maya. Ma means not. Ya means which. That which has no existence is Maya. Do you believe in miracles? When I did not know my existence, there was nothing. My existence and the world have appeared simultaneously. Is it not a miracle? Will my world last indefinitely? It will last only as long as your consciousness lasts. How long will I be interested in this world and its objects? As long as your body identity remains. What is the origin of all art? The intelligence is due to the consciousness in human form. The consciousness is due to sattva, or food essence, which is in turn due to the 5 elements. Hence, all art is due to the 5 elements. Do all living beings follow any commandments? They do follow certain rules out of fear and instinct, but not to please God. All living bodies are made of 5 elements. In one respect, all bodies are similar. They are food of consciousness. They are also each other's food. No sane God would create such a survival system, hence all creation is spontaneous. Why are we always in need of something or the other? Because of your individuality. A jnani loses his individuality and is free of desire. His activities happen spontaneously. Sage Jnaneswar has written about a jnani as the whole universe becomes his home, or to be more precise, he becomes one with all that is movable and immovable. He becomes one with all the 5 elements. A jnani knows the world, but the world knows him only by his miracles. How is the jnani so sure of not being the body? The body is made of the 5 elements, of which a jnani is not. Hence, a jnani is not the body. The same applies to everyone else who insists that they are the bodies. All existence is time-bound, but the knower of time is timeless. Where there is consciousness, there is time. But the knower of consciousness is timeless, and the timeless cannot be time-bound. The clock of the primary illusion ticks at a very slow rate. When billions of years pass, the clock of Maya ticks only a second. It indicates as if nothing ever happened. Do you experience the world in your life, or you experience your life in the world? We experience our life in the world. If you are not, where is your world? Hence you come first, then your world. You experience the world in your life. Don't you experience time now? The time has only been there just for the last 82 years. But it is very clear what I was, even when time was not. Hence I talk whatever I want to. It is not my imagination, but what is really so. How can the eternal be measured in time? I do not need a witness to support these facts. But you make use of consciousness to talk about the non-conscious state. Without consciousness, how can I convey anything? I am not consciousness, but I make use of it when needed. I am the witness of consciousness, which is my instrument. What is prarabdha, destiny? The effect of good and bad deeds of the current and past lives gets stored in one's account. One has to enjoy or suffer according to one's actions. This is the normal belief about prarabdha. It is all untrue for me. The main point is man must get strength from somewhere to face life as it comes, when it comes. When I think of prarabdha, I remember pillars erected in our villages to take the load off your head. Formerly in Indian villages there were no cars or buses. The rich had bullock carts and others had to walk for short or long distances. Almost every person had a light or heavy load of personal belongings like firewood, purchased goods, produce for sale, luggage, etc. This load was normally carried on the head. After traveling long distances, one needed relief from the load for taking rest and drinking water. Keeping this in mind, short pillars of human height were erected at various places in rural areas. It was a great relief for the travelers to transfer the load to the top of the pillar and to be free for some time. Thus refreshed, they would resume their journey. The concept of prarabdha helps people in a similar manner. Ultimately, death of young people is explained as their prarabdha. They were allotted only short lives by God in this life. People used to console themselves by saying that they had done something bad in the past lives, and it was necessary to suffer now to wipe out the evil of past lives. Without such explanation and consolation, life would have become very difficult and even intolerable for many. Hence, the concept of prarabdha serves to provide relief to the ignorant people. Even in these modern times, many take help of this old concept to face life as it comes. What is birth? It is the appearance of a tiny ball of the five elements with dormant consciousness. When I know that I cannot be this ball, why should I take it as my birth? What happens when I meditate on my consciousness? You will get knowledge of your true being. The truth will become crystal clear. What is will open up. That has produced sages. If I meet a sage, I will see the ball of five elements at his root. You have not investigated your own roots. Hence you are not comfortable with your own beingness. For peace and happiness, you have to visit a sage who tells you what you are and instructs you on how to meditate. A sage is not different from you, but you have to realize the unity. Where do the words originate? Word is the quality of space. Words originate in space and they finally land on the earth. They become a part of the vegetation that is consumed by the various life forms from whose mouths the words come out. The first words are the sense of being. I am. Are not our lives limited? The duration of your life is like the duration of the Olympic Games. These games have a beginning and an end. At the end, all the participants leave. The witnessing that was happening is not happening now. That's it. Similarly, in reality, you are the witness of your life. You are the unborn to whom the witnessing happens for a certain duration. The end of the body does not mean death of the witness. Our life is the duration of witnessing. Should one commit suicide in case of a failure? No. The quality of this consciousness is mysterious and unpredictable. It can make one very successful again in no time. In a speck of consciousness there dwells the whole world. If I know the origin of this consciousness, is it enough? Then your work will be done. Then you will see yourself as unborn. You will lose your name and form and become timeless. Do I die with the body? You are that which separates from the body on death. Am I in the world, or the world is in me? You and your world are one. As consciousness, I should always be happy. You live as the body and hence become unhappy. Do I have freedom to act? You as the Absolute are not the doer, but only a witness. Your activities happen because of the God in you. You know that actions like sleeping and excretion happen. You cannot do them. How does self-love, Maya, and Ishwara differ? They are all one only. Should I share this knowledge with my relatives and friends? No, it is meant only for you. Meditate on it. December 29th, 1979. You are taken care of. An astronomer uses a telescope to see distant objects, but he is not the telescope. Similarly, the witness of consciousness and its contents is not the consciousness. What is the cause of our fear? Fear is due to your body identity. Only the formless can be fearless. If I am not the body, will I tend to neglect it? I am not this flower pot and the flowers, but I do take care of them. The loss of body identity does not mean neglect of the body. There will be care of the body without any worry or anxiety. What do you see with closed eyes? Nothing. You see deep blue or deep black. The body functions as long as that can be seen. It is called Megashayam, or dark-complexioned Krishna, and also as Salvaram, or dark-complexioned Ram. You have told us that we are already perfect before doing anything. The only requirement is proper understanding. At other places you will be asked to do this and that. It is their business. A jnani is the knower of the transition from the no-knowing state to the knowing state. When you wake up from sleep, who comes to know it? The consciousness. With closed eyes you see the deep blue or black. On opening the eyes, you see first the space and then the other things. A rare disciple of a sage declares that he has found his eternal dwelling place. The timeless is beyond being and non-being. Does the world have an independent existence? A sage sees the world as his beingness. Can we meet a sage who has a body? How to contact him when he is without a body? He is one and the same as you were 100 years ago. You did exist, but without the knowledge you are. The same state continued even in the womb and thereafter up to over 3 years of your age. How does the knowledge I am develop from the no-knowing state? It is like sweetening of a raw mango. How can one plan from the no-knowing state to take birth again? The ignorant say so, and the listeners are made to believe it. All your so-called knowledge is of that type. If you are the unborn, ever-existing principle, is it not an offense to talk of your birth? It is. It is like accusing me of leading a gang of dacoits which robbed a bank in New Delhi. How can I accept responsibility for that crime? Hence, I reject my birth as an impossibility. Is there perception in non-duality? How can that be? A slightest difference or change is a must to notice. In oneness, who will perceive whom? When there is you, there is also I. Parabrahman alone exists. It is alone or all one. It does not know its existence, or there is no I am knowledge or beingness in Parabrahman. In the complete there is no experience. If there is any experience, it is incomplete. You are the embodiment of knowledge. No, it is all empty. I talk what I do not know. You think it is my knowledge and appreciate it. What spiritual practice do you recommend for me? What you see, without deliberate seeing, with closed eyes, be there. Meditate on it. It is called dark blue beauty, Shyam Sundar. It is the expanse of awareness, Chidakash. When you open the eyes, you see the great expanse of existence, Mahadakash. Our ignorance is the cause of pride. The primary illusion incarnates from spit, of semen. Who can be proud of that? Is the state of Parabrahman full of knowledge? It is the no-knowledge state, true and eternal. It is said if the pranks of a beautiful woman do not attract someone, one is a jnani or a beast. Is a jnani indifferent to what happens? A jnani leaves it to the nature to take care of his needs. What does the embryo do to feed itself? Who protects it and arranges a safe delivery? There is a better care in the no-knowing state than in the knowing. The deliberate action of an individual cannot be so perfect. These actions can be forgetful and inefficient. In scriptures it is written that a jnani leaves it to destiny to do the needful to his body. He has nothing to say about it. I equate prarabdha destiny to sattva quality, which is responsible for beingness. A jnani's activities happen without the I am feeling. We observe the 5 elements. Is there any mind? No. Still we observe conflict amongst them. Their activities happen without a mind. These elements do not know that they exist. When they combine to form sattva, there is I amness and mind in it. The development of forms and their activities happen spontaneously. What is prior to mind and attention? The sense of being? Just as our sour, pungent, hot, or the qualities of food material, our sense of being or consciousness is also its quality or expression. Hence the food material and the beingness are one. The knower of consciousness is separate from it. Consciousness is the highest quality or stage of the food material, from where the ultimate can be realized. In spite of your passive witnessing, everything is going on smoothly here. Everything is a spontaneous happening. I am not a participant in it. It is like an embryo receiving everything that is needed. What have we to understand from this? One has to understand one's true form or nature. Your visitors know you from your outward appearance and talk. I am quite different from what appears and from what can be known. I am not this form I am pointing at or anything connected to this. You see here the sattva quality, which I am not. Your main obstacle in proper understanding is your attraction to your possessions, relatives, and friends. It is difficult to be free of them. I work on you like a sculptor on a stone, but his job seems to be easier than that of mine. A stone does not offer any resistance. As the artist works on it, it gets lighter and lighter. On the other hand, my people seem to add on concepts instead of becoming free of them. While meditating, what am I? You are the formless consciousness. You know you are because of the body, but you are not the body. I become one with the witness. You are the witness all the time. In the morning there was waking from the sleep state. The witnessing of waking happened to you, and thereafter you witnessed the surroundings. All your so-called seeing, tasting, smelling is not your doing, but the witnessing happening to you. You are prior to all experiences and actions. The witness never sleeps. The witness of waking and sleep states is beyond these states. What is happening now is the waking state. You listen to these talks and you are unable to speak, and the witness of these talks does not need to talk. The waking and sleep result from food material, sattva. But the knower of these states is beyond sattva. These states have rising and setting. The setting is considered as death by the people who are ignorant of the origin of waking, that is, consciousness. For a sage there is no death but bliss. Self-knowledge is the end of fear and death. How is a jnani related to light? There is no relation, only its witnessing happens. The 3 ages, yugas, have passed and the same have been witnessed. This witness is ever present and has no coming, birth, or going death. Innumerable forms appear, remain, and disappear. But the witness is only one and it remains forever, totally unaffected. December 30th, 1979. The manifestation is purposeless. What is real surrender? To forget one's name and form is true surrender. How does a sadhaka, spiritual seeker, differ from an ordinary man? An ordinary man relies on himself for his sustenance, whereas a sadhaka relies on Guru or God for everything. A sadhaka knows himself as consciousness and not the body. How to overcome the fear of death? The body identity must drop. The consciousness never dies. Live as consciousness and be fearless. Are all concepts due to sattva? Every concept, including the first I am, is due to sattva. If the whole world is in consciousness, where is the jnani? He is out of the world. He is timeless and beyond being and non-being. Can you bless me so that only auspicious things happen to me? In reality, you are formless. What good or bad can happen to you? Everything is changing so fast, but your true nature remains unaffected. The best blessings are to realize what one is eternally. Only the changeless remains unaffected under all circumstances. You seldom talk about individuals. I talk about the collective relation of consciousness. When the 5 elements come together to form sattva, various forms appear. One and the same consciousness operates through all forms. All individuals are imaginary. There is infinite and boundless consciousness without any purpose. The vital breath also appears along with the consciousness. The manifestation is purposeless. This is a very valuable insight. May you live long to guide us. I don't need to live even for a full day more. Life means trouble and it begins with waking every morning. You cannot avoid or even postpone running to the toilet. Taking care of your body's needs, you cannot expect lasting peace. Is I-amness or consciousness our true nature? No, it is our problem. So far, 3 ages, yugas, have passed. Satya, Treta, Dwapar. The current is Kali Yuga. During this vast time, is nature Nisarga affected in any way? Nisarga is not consciousness, hence it is not at all affected. The news I am is the cause of suffering. Where did it originate? In the womb. That news was the content of the womb. My present experience of being alive and experiencing the world depends upon that news. That news is the foundation of this existence. What was the condition when the news was absent? That was my true eternal state, which was untouched by several dissolutions of the universe. How do people see visions of gods and sages? Our consciousness has the power to appear in those forms. What is needed is the faith and a great urge to see these forms. December 31st, 1979. More the greatness, more the bondage. A lot of activity goes on in the womb for the transition from non-being to being. The non-being continues even after delivery of the infant up to over 3 years of its age. Some are lucky to become great in life. More the greatness, more is the bondage. Even a small incident in one's life gets a big publicity all over the world. One has to be very careful all the time. There is freedom only in self-knowledge. A guru gives initiation to his disciple. The Sanskrit word for initiation is anugraha. What is its significance? You have to accept graha, your true identity, from your guru. He tells you you are atomic, anu, consciousness. The disciples continue to have their body identity, but that is not accepting initiation. From what age does accumulation of knowledge begin? For accumulating knowledge, the child must first know it exists. It is self-knowledge with a little s, not self-knowledge. That happens around 3 to 5 years of age. It is when the child starts recognizing its mother. The collection of ignorance begins thereafter. If the child is taught that it is not the body but the consciousness or self, will it realize the self faster? The child will not understand it. It will remember the words and repeat them like a parrot. That will not help in any way. At the end of the lifespan, all the accumulated knowledge vanishes. The strength also becomes less and less day by day, and at the end no energy is left even to lift a feeding spoon. We ignorant people always think about the family and other worldly things. What about a jnani? Those thoughts are absent here. In your case, there are hopes, desires, and cravings. Your thought flow is because of them. In the case of a jnani, the hopes, etc., don't die, but they are fulfilled spontaneously. I see a lot of exaggeration in scriptures. In the epic Mahabharata, it is written that in Krishna's kingdom there lived his followers called Yadavas, totaling 560 million. What is the current population of India? Around 700 million. In the small part of the present Gujarat state, how could so many Yadavas have lived comfortably? We read many such things. What is true and what is false in it? What does a Sadguru do to his disciple? He ends his I amness and the unreal existence. In the infinite and boundless, unhappiness cannot remain. What is the significance of Goddess Lakshmi serving God Narayan? Here consciousness is Narayan and our attention, Laksha. I am, me, serves it. In the ocean of consciousness, your sense of being is so minute. When it goes, it is all one consciousness. Ram was Parabrahman. Was he never ignorant? When he was young, he was like you. The teachings of his guru, sage Vashishta, changed him. What is real knowledge? It is to know that I am neither the sattva food body nor its quality of consciousness. Do you believe in miracles? A minute sphere of consciousness has become the great expanse of existence, the universe of matter and energy. Is it not a miracle? The size of our earth is so minute as compared to the total existence. A small particle of sattva on this earth has consciousness, which contains the whole existence. What more do you need to believe in miracles? January 1st, 1980. You look for simple truth, making it difficult. What do I gain by self-knowledge? The idea of profit and loss is a sign of the body identity, and they apply to an individual. With self-knowledge, these concepts don't remain. When the individual is no more, to whose account will you put the profit or loss? In the formless, there are no separate accounts to register profit or loss. It is all one account, or no account. If you are looking for profit, this is a wrong place for you. The rich are very careful to book maximum profit. Their life is a needless struggle. Others in the family have no work. Their job is to take their dog out for a walk. I have seen a Parsi gentleman sleeping with his dog on his stomach. Now forget about profit and loss. Tell me, what is the use of your beingness when you lose your individuality? No use. Then there will be no happiness or unhappiness. All rivers join the sea. Also, all gutters empty into it. How does it affect the sea? Similarly, a sage is unaffected by the good or bad of the world. Our knowledge, I am, consciousness, is a borrowed knowledge. It is bound to leave. Your state 100 years ago was similar to your present deep sleep state. There were no thoughts in both these states. Hence, try to remain without thoughts, meditation, as long as possible. You will get true knowledge thereby. What is true knowledge? You experience the world due to your waking and sleep states. When you know the why and how of these states, it is an end of all your search for knowledge. Where will I go at the end of this life? You know that you did not come here from anywhere. You appeared unknowingly and almost suddenly. You will also disappear in the same way. If you are bold enough, you will be able to say goodbye at the end. Just as your world began with your consciousness, it will also end with the separation of consciousness. Your being and the world are one, just like the sun and its light. You are the sun and the world is your light. You have not done anything for the appearance of your consciousness. When it separates, death, you cannot stop it. Also, it is not in your hands to get rid of it. Is knowingness the same as consciousness or beingness? Yes, that is your main capital. You have to think over your knowingness, who comes to know, and how it has happened. Whatever is seen in the knowingness is the transformation of knowingness. Whatever you know is because of your knowingness. What can you know without it? People take interest in what they know and not in knowingness itself. When you come to know the secret of this knowingness, its origin, you will attain fullness and all your needs will come to an end. Remember that you are neither the known nor the knowingness, but are the knower of knowingness. Today I am talking about knowingness, and I will not leave the subject. I will not allow you to come to the body level. You go to dramas and movies, but I don't go there. Why? Because you love your knowingness, but you cannot tolerate it without doing something or the other. In order to be comfortable, you have to keep your knowingness busy. In my case, I don't need my knowingness. Also, it is not a problem for me. I am not the knowingness, but its knower. Before the appearance of this knowingness, was there any need to exist or to continue to exist? Just as knowingness has a beginning, it has also an end. It is as if a convict is sentenced to death by hanging. Only the date is not yet fixed. How are the 5 elements related to knowingness? They are the content of knowingness and cannot exist independent of knowingness. If the truth is so simple, how are we still in concepts? That is your own contribution. My job is to tell you what is. It is left to you how you understand it or misunderstand it. You look for simple truth made difficult. Hence, you cannot help wrapping it up in your own concepts. You can be excused for your mistakes. But there are so-called gurus who are not much different from you. Their most fond concept is their Brahman. Their most fond concept is their Brahman. They are eager to share their great findings with their disciples. A guru's greatness is not measured by his realization of the self, but by his number of followers. More the followers, bigger is the guru. I don't blame the gurus, as they do not know that they are still ignorant. Their hopes, desires, and cravings are a measure of their ignorance. How can the formless have any hopes or desires? Why is it difficult to transcend all concepts? It is your liking and love for these concepts that binds you. You promote your concepts to the stature of Brahman. Why is there so much love for existence? In the case of every living being, what is born is self-love, the love to exist. This is a sign of ignorance. The precious life is used by human beings to pass time somehow. The value of life is known only at the end, when the last few days or hours are left. The doctors are requested to keep the patient alive at any cost. This self-love vanishes when the secret of transition from the no-knowing to knowing is known. A sage has no self-love. Hence he does not need bodyguards. He or she drops the body voluntarily, which is termed yogic mahasamadhi, or leaves it to nature or prarabdha, destiny. What was your name, form, and quality 100 years ago? Nothing. The same is now witnessing innumerable names, forms, and qualities. Our thoughts are about weather, rising prices, politics, etc. What are your thoughts like? I think about the content of scriptures like Mahabharata, etc. There is a description about the birth of Pandavas and Kauravas. I wonder how far they are true. There is conception from non-existing males. Is that possible, etc.? What is the reality of this great world of ours? The only reply I get is that it is all an imagination. People read Bhagavad Gita to know what were Arjuna's thoughts and how did Sri Krishna help him. I tell the readers that Krishna is referring to their own problems and is trying to help them in life. Can the reader know what he is and how? The author of Mahabharata, Sage Vyas, has made Arjuna only an instrument in awakening the readers to their true nature. Words play an important role in our lives. With the infant's form in front of them, the parents name it as per the word that occurs to them. Every name has its meaning. The man acts as per the meaning of thoughts that occurred to him. Can one expect proper action by uttering meaningless words? Your day begins with actions as per the thoughts that come after waking in the morning. Witnessing of the whole day happens to the waking state that begins in the morning. For realizing your true nature, you must stabilize in the state prior to waking. There are no words in that state. Your experience of the world and your activities begin after the appearance of the news, I am. Before that, what was there? Were you a man or a woman? Nothing. The first silent words are I am. Your day begins with words and words every morning. Your actions depend upon them. You call them thoughts. Your words combine to form a sentence. Only then are you able to ask your question. Which soap did you use to clean your ignorance? Such a soap is not available. That is a soap of knowledge which you receive from your guru. When the heard and read ignorance is cleansed, along with your own imagined concepts, pure self-knowledge remains. The self is permanent and ever ready, without which the temporary ignorance cannot exist. But the ignorance is so prominent that the self appears to be imaginary and temporary. The ignorance looks very ancient and well established. The worst part of the ignorance is the body identity, which is the most difficult to eradicate. The ignorance, including the body identity, can be less or more, but the self is ever full and complete. With true knowledge, the ignorance gets liberation, but not the self, which is never in bondage. What happens when the body identity is lost? Then you know that you are the entire manifestation, vast and unlimited. You once said, "I am awake," is also a concept. How? Your true nature is beyond waking, sleep, and knowingness, and ever awake. From that perspective, to say, "I am awake," is odd and a concept. How do we accept whatever we hear as true? All your knowledge is based merely on hearsay. You find it convenient to go with the majority. Whatsoever 99 people believe, the 100th man also easily believes. Birth is nobody's own experience. Still it is taken as the truth. What is the solution to this? All hearsay knowledge should get dropped. Don't entertain public opinion. What we are should be our own knowledge. All religions are based on hearsay, and the self is unaffected and independent of it. To which religion do sleep and consciousness belong? To no religion. Our birth means the appearance of waking, sleep, and consciousness. The combination of these three gives rise to the memory, I am, which has accepted religions as per the traditions. Are sin or religious merit real or imagination? If they are real, who would have known them even in deep sleep or also 100 years ago? In these two states, you were perfectly pure in all respects. All your problems are due to the memory, I am, and the body identity. In the absence of the body identity, there is no birth, no death, and no bondage. Taking yourself as the body, what you collect in this world is all ignorance. You take yourself as a man or a woman because of the body form, which is also ignorance. After ignoring all hearsay, what should one do? One should abide in one's own self. Without asking anybody, you can be sure of only one thing. That is your sense of being, your consciousness. This is your main capital. Be with it. Meditate on it, and it will tell you the truth. That will not be a hearsay, but your own direct knowledge. When the body is forgotten, there is peace and purity. How long should I meditate? Until you forget that you are meditating. This will be possible by practice, providing you are earnest. Otherwise, you may meditate for 1 or 2 hours between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. every morning, or as is convenient. What is the cause of fear? Was there any fear before getting concepts from others? No. Don't accept others' concepts and be fearless. What is your main demand? That I should remain alive. All your activities are to remain alive. I am alive is a concept from the standpoint of your true nature, which never dies. Hence, the I am alive concept must get dropped. What is Mulamaya, illusion? In your true eternal state, the sense of being was absent. Its appearance is the most attractive. That is Mulamaya. The sense of being is time-bound and not indefinite. How can a man attain Brahman? When we talk of a man or a woman, it is understood that they have a body identity. Such a person cannot know Brahman. whatever we actually see, how can it be untrue? You see a dream. Is it true? In the waking state also you see, but it is not much different from a dream. Your sense of being always contains various scenes full of objects. You cannot separate the scene from the sense of being. The sense of being is the sattva quality of food essence. When sattva is not, there is nothing. January 2nd, 1980. Who comes to know that all existence is false? How do you say that all our knowledge is hearsay? What is your own knowledge? Did you know that you were a girl? No. A drop knows about the ocean, but when it becomes one with the ocean, it does not know that it is ocean. Are there any duties after self-knowledge? Then you are free of all bondages and duties. All your normal activities and duties are to protect yourself and to preserve your self-love. For a jnani, there is no self-love, and therefore no question of protecting it. Why is God not a need at all? You need only water when you are thirsty. Is a jnani free to do anything? If you are working in a company, you have to follow their rules and regulations. Your expectation of a regular income is your bondage. A jnani is free of all expectations, including the need to exist. Hence he is really free. For him life is a play, lila. Still his utterances and actions are in tune with the Absolute. A jnani does not need to follow any religion. Most of the religions have begun from jnanis. One who has seen oneself properly, his self-surrender is complete. This has happened here, in my case, and now there is no need for any religion. This talk, which is going on now, is the quality of the food material, sattva. A jnani is always the knower of consciousness and is separate from it. He makes use of consciousness as an instrument to communicate. Why are half-baked gurus not coming here to get their baking completed? Their pose is coming their way. They are sadhus, mahatmas, saints, or rishis. They have their own following. They cannot sacrifice all that for self-knowledge. Here, in my case, there is no pose. It is all space-like and open. In the path of devotion, bhakti marga, initially a disciple has to take himself as Brahman. After attaining it, there is no need to repeat, I am Brahman. One lives as Brahman, which is real brahmacharya, celibacy, without any announcement or publicity. That is the picture of fullness and end of all desires. How were Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Sridi Sai Baba, Nityanand, Ramana Maharshi, and other great sages? The concepts of profit and loss have no place there, including all bondages which are reserved for the half-baked. People come here with their own ideas and innocently try to involve me. Once a woman came here with some prasad after visiting Pandharpur. She wanted me to take advantage of her visit to Vitoba. I told her to keep the prasad there, so that I could consume it later on. Other women invited me to accompany them on a visit to a 1,000-year-old Babaji, who had come to Bombay, Mumbai, on a visit. I told them to visit him and tell me later about their meeting. A seeker without a pose can pursue his meditation without any disturbance. Suppose there is a poor and deserving girl who needs your help. You take the pose of her father. Then you are bound to spend your time, money, and energy for her. Sadhus are so busy in their worldly activities that they have no time for meditation. They have no time even to think about their guru's teachings. Their time is spent in going from place to place giving lectures. They remain on the intellectual level and cannot go beyond it. For some time, I had also taken a small pose. I saw its disadvantages and gave it up. Now there is no pose here. What about the knowledge of the eternal self? This consciousness is not going to remain for a long time. While it lasts, one must know one's state. Then the consciousness will be no more. For that knowledge, one cannot wait for the departure of the consciousness. If a jnani is without a pose, he is free of all responsibilities. On the other hand, his responsibility increases. He has to take care of the whole universe. But there is no involvement in it. Beyond all concepts, there is total freedom. When you talk to us, what do you take us to be? I talk to the unborn principle, but you hear me as a born being. The consciousness is Atma, and Paramatma is the unborn principle. Before coming here, you were living with the I am the body idea. How are we going to live now? After losing the body identity, I will live as the consciousness. Can consciousness know Parabrahman? No, but Parabrahman knows the consciousness, although there is no need to know it. You love watching television. What is in it? It is all an illusion. If the actors are not alive, are they dead? If dead, you should be able to see corpses there. Who is watching the television? They are also an illusion. One who says that there was dissolution of the universe, but I did not even notice it. Is he a knower or ignorant? A fisherman spreads his net to catch fish. Whatever gets caught in the net is his catch. Similarly, whatever comes into the grasp of your intellect is your knowledge. When you hear the word Parabrahman, it is not understood by your intellect. You do not understand by your intellect. You can hear the word, but cannot have any taste or experience of it. You do not understand that which is prior to your being, during your being, and also after your being. In fact, it is Parabrahman which understands and not you. It is never an object, but always the subject. The only key you have to Parabrahman is your consciousness. Purify it by chanting the mantra, Mahavatya, given by Sadguru. Parabrahman is already there, waiting, when the false is seen as false. If all existence is spontaneous, what is my duty? You have to only know that you are not in it. Who comes to know that all existence is false? Whoever knows is also false. One who is trying to know the truth, how can he be unreal? He is unreal, that is a fact. What is the motive behind searching for the truth? Restlessness. What is the cause of restlessness? Wrong identity. To take yourself as that which you are not is the cause of all the confusion and trouble. Then what is the solution to this problem? To remember Sadguru's words round the clock. Thereby the truth will be manifest in you. Sri Krishna tells this to Arjuna. Surrender to me alone, completely. Everyone gets a call from within to know the truth, but it is never heard by most of the people. Now, I ask you, what is the expenditure of the whole world, and after debiting it, what is the credit balance? What is real surrender? It is dropping the I am the body idea. Why are devotees told to surrender to Ram, Krishna, etc.? That is in the initial stages when it is difficult to drop the body identity for the beginners. What is the cause of unhappiness and pain? You're sticking to the body as I am. January 3rd, 1980. What you accept in full faith happens. All your world is the creation of your beingness. You may find this difficult to accept, but what about your dream world? The false waking in deep sleep results in the appearance of the dream world. There is no God needed to create it. What applies to the dream state also applies to the waking. Your consciousness is nothing less than God. Have you realized your greatness? I am a pitiable mortal, struggling to know the truth. What are you without your body form? I am referring to that. At night you cannot see objects in darkness. When the sun rises, the same objects become visible. Similarly, in deep sleep the objects are invisible. Your waking is the sun in whose light the world becomes visible. If you limit yourself to your body, you suffer. Without the body, you are invisible. Give your attention to it. Even in complete darkness, you know that you are. Hold it. Meditate on it. We never question the reality of any experience in waking or in a dream state while it lasts. All experiences accompany your sense of being. When the sense of being is absent, as in deep sleep, there is nothing. You see bright afternoon sunlight even on a moonless midnight. You call it a dream. How can meditation help to wake up from this dream? We dream even while waking. When you meditate properly on your consciousness, in due course you will yourself see in it all the 5 elements, 3 qualities, and the Prakriti and Purusha. For complete peace and happiness, you will have to propitiate your consciousness by meditating on it. Thereafter you will be so full in all respects that there will be no need for anything. If death is a myth, how can a jnani die? If a jnani says he is going to die, he cannot be a jnani. We worship gods like Rama and Krishna. Were they human beings like us? If so, we can also strive to be like them. They were just like you. If you call them incarnations, you are also incarnations. That is the greatness of consciousness in human form. The only requirement is its proper use under the guidance of a Sadguru. Although the truth is so simple, some people undergo great hardships for self-realization. If a disciple does not have any doubt about his Sadguru's teachings, he realizes the highest in no time. But such is a rare case. Full faith in one's consciousness works wonders. In the initial stages, people are told to chant mantra and do bhajans. They also achieve, but after a long time. Can you suggest to me some shortcut for regular practice? During daytime, you are busy with so many activities. At least while going to bed at night, say the following: My body is made of the 5 elements. If I am not the elements, how can I be the body? My prana, vital breath, is formless. My consciousness and mind are also formless. How can I be limited to a small form? I am infinite and boundless. I am ever existing. How can I be born? Hence I cannot have any death also. I am the eternal, ever-existing principle. With your insistence, necessary changes will take place in you during sleep, and your spiritual progress will be easier and faster. What you accept in full faith happens in reality. The other day I saw you curing a serious illness of a disciple. His condition was really bad. I told him, "There is nothing wrong with you. You are absolutely fine." He had full faith in me and had come to me as the last hope. He accepted my words as the absolute truth. My job was to create confidence in him. What worked was his own faith. He was free of his sickness in a short time. Some people give me credit for the miracles that happen. In fact, I don't do anything. If I were responsible for doing miracles, I could have done them even in the absence of faith in me. Not everyone benefits by coming here. If Atma is one and all, it should be easier to have full faith in the Sadguru. Atma is one. The manifested Atma, Jagad Atma, or the universal Atma, Vishwatma, finally merges into the attributeless Paramatma. But the faith one has in the Sadguru differs from disciple to disciple. One is free not to have faith and suffer accordingly. In one of our bhajans, it is said that even God is bound to help a disciple who has full faith that his Sadguru is Parabrahman. Although I am not this body, it is more prominent than the consciousness, which is invisible. Never bring the consciousness to the level of the body. Consciousness or Atman appear to be restricted to the body, which is never so. It is everywhere, infinite and boundless. You come to know that you exist because of your body, but you are not the body. You agree that space is limitless. Now space and the other four elements originate from consciousness. It means consciousness is bigger than space. Then, how can consciousness get restricted to the body? It is also infinite and boundless. After self-knowledge, whom should I consult in case of any doubts? Existence of any doubt indicates lack of self-knowledge. The concept I have self-knowledge should also drop. I am a beginner. Can you tell me where I should begin my self-inquiry? 100 years ago, you didn't know your existence. Even your body appeared without your knowledge. Your existence was in a no-knowing state. Now you know that you are. You must know the transition from the no-knowing state to the knowing state. What is the reason for this transition and how? Your mind cannot help to find it, as it was absent during this transition. It came later. It is enough if it does not disturb you during your inquiry. Without it, you will have a nice deep meditation in which all your doubts will be cleared. Your self-inquiry has started because of the body. When there was no body, you did not know your existence. Hence, there was no need for any inquiry. As long as the body is there, you have to complete your self-inquiry. Meditation is the key to the solution of this spiritual riddle. What is the ultimate finding of spirituality? Your sense of being consciousness is the quality of the essence of food you eat. Someone comes to know that he is. Who is he? He must be present prior to knowing his presence. Then why did he not know when the body was born? Then also the food essence was ready, but it was raw. In a raw mango there is no sweetness. The sweetness comes when the mango ripens after some months. Similarly, the knowingness appeared 3 to 5 years after the birth of the body. What is the most important thing in your life? My sense of being. What is there without it? Nothing. Hence, that is your capital. That is everything for you, and it is your key to self-knowledge. Meditate on it. When your consciousness is propitiated, it will be an end to all your doubts and questions. Then you will have lasting happiness. I exist and have my own ideas about myself. How long will they last? As long as your body is intact. Here, in my case, there are no ideas. What is cannot be described as being this or that. It is unlike anything else. I do not find myself useful to the world. Still I am. My physical existence is this news I am in the body. It has come uncalled for and it can go any moment. How much importance should I give to this unreliable physical existence? My real existence is independent of this body. I existed when the body was not. Even now I exist independent of the body. The body is not required for my existence. Only my news I am needs it. Without the body, I do not know I am. In future I will be there without this body and without the news I am. The appearance of beingness is like waking up from deep sleep. One who was without any attributes and was beyond consciousness suddenly became conscious. It is not someone coming from somewhere, but it is only becoming conscious of one's existence. From the no news state, the news I am appeared. Is there any permanent experience? All your experiences depend upon your sense of being, which is itself impermanent. Only the no experience state is permanent. What remains to be done after meeting a sage? Try to remember his words all the time and remain as per his words as much as possible. That will keep you closer to reality. You must look at yourself and not at God or others. Saya, and everything is contained in it. What else do you know? That itself is everything. When you are everything, you cannot have any problems. Your greatest blunder is your identification with the body. Your body identity is incomplete. When you know it and it goes, you are already complete. What is so unique about our consciousness? The sun is great but cannot see darkness. Also the darkness cannot see the sun. But you, consciousness, can see both these. That is your greatness. We were lucky to be born. 100 years ago you were complete in all respects. The so-called birth is of incompleteness. What is Bodhisattva of Buddha? You have Buddha, knowledge, that you are, because of sattva, body. Hence you are Bodhisattva. Is a long life useful? Someone lives for 200 years. What is the use? It is as significant as someone urinating, standing up, in a remote corner. This alludes to a popular Marathi aphorism implying, what difference does it make? January 4th, 1980. A sage is rich without possessions. Our bodies have value because of the consciousness. What is the value of consciousness? Consciousness is God. Who else is there to evaluate? An advanced seeker says, I am the formless consciousness. Who is a sinner? The consciousness never dies, but only separates from the body. One who says, I am dying, is a sinner. We receive so much from our Sadguru. What value do we give it? A millionaire had a loss of memory, and he was begging on a pavement. A friend of his recognized him and offered all help to bring him back on track. He told him his worth and named the bank in which he had millions. Can you expect that beggar to continue his stay on the pavement? In spirituality, it is happening like that. I tell you what you are. You are not a pitiable mortal, but you are a formless, deathless, infinite, and boundless principle. If you continue to hold on to your old identity, what can I do? A gain of a few thousand rupees is of more importance to us than the knowledge of our true nature. We do not know its importance. We understand material gain, but not spiritual. Everything becomes visible because of your consciousness, which itself is invisible. The wise know the importance of consciousness now, but the dull have to wait until their end. How much does one need to spend in order to keep a patient alive? Many times, money cannot help at all. The ignorant live as men and also die as men. What does the Sadguru do? He waters the seed of Brahman in you, and in due course there will be a fully grown tree of Brahman in you. You are always the Chaitanya Brahman on which there is an illusory appearance of a human being. Sadguru's help is required to know and realize our true being. What was my last birth? This question arises from the body identity, which is made of earth, water, fire, air, and space. I will answer your question after you tell me what was the last birth of the content of earth in you, also what was the last birth of the water in you. Similarly, tell me the last birth of fire, air, and space in you. Just as the 5 elements have no birth, the body made up of these 5 elements also has no birth. All our knowledge in this field is nothing but ignorance. Why are Sadgurus so rare? Their number is as per the demand. Are there many seekers for self-knowledge? There are mostly self-seekers with a little s, and rarely self-seekers with the big S. One who is beyond all needs welcomes true seekers. A sage poses as an ignorant man or even as mad in order to keep the wrong people away. The earnest seekers find no difficulty in meeting the right man. The rich and powerful people can help to give publicity. But who needs publicity? The need for consciousness has ended here. Hence, what can one gain through consciousness? A sage is rich without possessions. Your desires and wants make you poor or rich. You may come across rich beggars, but a desireless poor is rare to find. Where should I search for truth? It is within you and not outside. All the outer search should end so that the inner search gets concentrated. Once the truth is located within, it will be everywhere for you. How to get rid of the I am the body idea? You never say that you are the food that you eat. It should be very clear to you that this body is nothing but food material. Your consciousness eats this body during fasting. With constant reminding, the wrong idea will get dropped. You are formless, but your body is the nearest form because of which you know you are. Because of this proximity, you are holding this body as your form. Do I exist without the body? Yes, but that existence is without I. That was your existence 100 years ago. That is eternal existence. There is no I or you in it. It is all one, alone. The same Atma is in all living beings. Only their forms differ, and they are named accordingly. If I search within, will I get liberated? All your concepts will be liberated. Without them, you are already free without needing any liberation. To be free of concepts is to have real knowledge of what life is. Why are most sages mostly silent and talk to only a few? Why was Jesus crucified and Mansur killed by his fellow Muslims? Only a few can hear truth patiently and digest it. The truth cannot be given to all and sundry. The masses are destined to remain in ignorance. Hence, the sages impart knowledge only to a chosen few. In my case, both God and devotee have vanished, and here I am. What do you understand by that? At this stage, I feel it is improper for people to visit and listen to me. Brahma is the creator God of the Hindu Trinity. The last day and date is said to be noted on the forehead of every living being. But who writes the last day? On the forehead of Brahma himself. Shiva or Shankar is the greatest destroyer responsible for all dissolutions. Who writes the last day on Shankar's forehead? All these riddles have been solved here in my case. All secrecies have found their liberation in this place. With all that, my true nature has remained unaffected and intact. I cannot produce a witness to confirm all this, and there is no need for it. If someone asks if I have a mind and what my thoughts are like, the above sentences will give him some idea. All forms should be eternal, as Atma is the only truth. All forms are due to the 5 elements, which are not eternal. Your true nature is bodiless and independent of the 5 elements. Hence, it is eternal. You know the world because of consciousness, which you are not. The consciousness is your instrument, and you are its user and knower. Without consciousness, what do you witness? Nothing. Hence, forget the body and be with the consciousness alone as much as possible and as long as possible. That is called meditation. Thereafter you will see the world as the play of your consciousness. Without knowing the origin of consciousness, whatever you may do, it will never give you real lasting happiness. The real knowledge frees you from illusory bondage. I love to exist. Consciousness is a blessing for me. Then why do you sleep? Try to live without sleep. Regular sleep is a must. Sleep is for getting consciousness, and it is a must for survival. What must be forgotten regularly cannot be a blessing. Even when awake, you have to forget consciousness by some mental or physical activity. Both food and sleep are necessary for survival. What about the individual soul, jiva, world, and Brahman? Witnessing happens due to consciousness, and there are the individual soul, world, and Brahman. Without consciousness, there is nothing, and no witnessing. I am is a concept, and all is its creation. Your sense of being is the soul, sarvatma, of all existence. What about your I am? When investigated, it vanished. You do not advise your disciples to observe any restrictions. For me, this existence is the child of a barren woman. What difference will it make if the child behaves any way? Sage Ramdas had told his disciples that they were asking him to give details about something which had never happened. Have you met Sri J. Krishnamurti? If I happen to meet him, what should I talk? There may be some exchange of words, but not of knowledge. Here also it is the same. I have had the conviction whether I am there or not, whether I really exist or not. January 5th, 1980. Existence is just an appearance. The same child consciousness continues throughout the life up to the last day. So many changes take place in the body and around it, but the child consciousness remains the same. The witnessing of the whole life happens to the child consciousness. When it separates from the body, it is all over. How do concepts affect the child consciousness? The flow of concepts continues throughout the life. New concepts come, they remain for some time and go, but the child consciousness remains unchanged. What we call as death is the setting of the child consciousness. Till then, the seed quality is wet. When it gets dried up, the child consciousness sets. All human activities are during the period from rising to setting of the child consciousness. Is it possible to be free of thoughts indefinitely? No, it can be only for a duration. As long as there is consciousness and breathing, thoughts will arise. You call it mind. You are disturbed by thoughts. The question is, who controls whom? You control your mind, or your mind controls you. Your mind is like an elephant which takes you for a ride. In the case of a sage, the mind is like a fly taking a ride on the elephant. If we are Brahman, in reality it should be easy for us to hold ourselves. It is easier to hold something which you are not. How can you hold yourself, and which part will you hold? You are itself all the time, and any action of yourself is going away from it. If we are one with the world, why this multiplicity? It is because your devotion to your Sadguru is not complete. Is there really a third eye in the forehead? The third eye is of knowledge, which you receive from your Sadguru. Is a sage free even when he utters irrelevant words in high fever? One who is liberated and free is always so in all circumstances. We see old people busy in their worldly activities till their end. They have fear of death, and their lives are just an effort to forget it. A spiritual seeker lives only to realize his immortality. Why to sacrifice comforts and entertainment for self-realization, which may not materialize? You are consciousness, and all the creation are your forms and your births. Avoiding spirituality is nothing new to you, but that is your normal practice. Then, why not opt for the higher, at least in this life? The human potential is to be God, and it is worth trying for at any cost. Your grace is always in action, and many a times we are respected for no apparent reason. Always have a feeling that through you people are respecting your Sadguru. Should I continue my bhajans even after self-knowledge? Yes, that will enhance or maintain your worthiness and save you from a fall. Is life worth living? The best use is to continue your devotion to Sadguru. How far can I progress without full faith in Sadguru? Without it, you cannot realize your unity with the Absolute. In life, we have so many gurus. What is Sadguru's greatness? When you construct a temple, many play their part in completing the work. The architect, civil engineer, construction workers, and coolies play their part. The sculptor has also to do important work. But the final installation and doing the rite of bringing life into the image is done only by the Brahmin priest. Similarly, only a Sadguru can awaken you to your true self. Has spirituality lost its importance in this modern age? Your technology has advanced, but your problems and sufferings have not changed. Formerly, you had problems with your bullock carts. Now they are with your cars and jets. Your jealousy, hatred, anger, and sorrow are the same as before. You will laugh at a person who is traveling in a train or bus with a suitcase on his head. Even now you are used to living life with imaginary problems and fears. Short-lived gains and happiness demand great efforts, which you don't hesitate to put in. But real ease, lasting peace and happiness, and natural spontaneity are unknown to you all. A rare one is an exception to this. Turning to spirituality demands wisdom to understand the limitations of your worldly life. A very few have it, and they are the salt of the earth. Others live to struggle and die. The modern age has enabled man to have enough but of no use for lasting peace and happiness. Hence more and more people are turning to spirituality to try its worth. Why are sages unperturbed by disturbing events? The sages are nothing short of Parabrahman, which was totally unaffected even during the several dissolutions of the universe. An ocean is unaffected by a few drops of rain falling into it here and there. The sages don't do anything, but the people near them do get benefited and their problems get solved. Sage Ramdas was the guru of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, who struggled to save Hindustan from total destruction under Muslim invasions and misrule. Most people lack in devotion. Every living being has devotion to be alive. No effort is spared to remain alive. How can I be sure that I am on the right track in spirituality when you can stay put in consciousness without using it for other activities? My mind disturbs me during meditation. Be a real devotee of a Sadguru. Then you will go beyond your mind. I agree that the dream world is false, but what about the waking world? Both are the content of your consciousness and time-bound. How can they be true? I want to get rid of this love to live. Then know yourself. What is real worship of God? The real worship is to know that in your pure form, you are God. It is said that Paramatma is without the sense of being or the I am knowledge. The news I am is absent in the formless Paramatma. That news is the quality of the body form. The news appeared because of the body, and it mistook the body as its form. The world exists in consciousness, and the consciousness in Paramatma.